My loving students and my respected followers, you are most welcome to my channel Grammar Corner. Okay, today our topic of discussion is nothing but MCQ on voice change in case of imperative sentences. Okay, now we have taken some examples, some MCQ here that I have already done in my previous classes, isn't it? The input how to do this voice change you have had from there easily. Okay, now here we are testing your knowledge, assuming that you have gone through my all previous classes and learned from there, isn't it? Now you see the first one. Okay, please clean the room. Okay, this is clean is your verb one. Okay, and the room is your object. Clear? This is the pattern of imperative sentence, as you know. Now how you can do the passive sense? There are four options. One of them would be your answer. Now how you can check? As you know, the structure of passive sense in this respect, what it is, there are two passive structure. Okay, number one, let, okay, plus object plus be verb plus V3. Okay, this is your first one that you can apply here to get your answer. Number two, you take your object here as subject. Next you write should, okay, or might, or you can write must. As per the meaning of your sentence, you can use either should or might, okay, or must. Any one of these three modal auxiliary you can use after your subject. Then what you have to set? Be verb. Then you have to set V3. Isn't it? These two patterns you see in your four options. Whether you are getting any one of them, that would be your answer, isn't it? Okay. Now you see the room is cleaned in your first option. No one of the two you are getting. Let the room be cleaned. Please, here you are getting the first passive structure in this respect. Let, you have got object, the room you have got here, and then be verb you have got here, and this is your V3, isn't it? So B1 would be your answer. Next you see, don't touch the paintings. Touch is your V1. Touch is your V1 and the paintings is your object, right? V1 and object, okay, but there is extra term don't. This is your negative imperative sentence. In this respect, what would be your passive structure? As I already showed in my previous classes, here I am writing for your remembering the structure, isn't it? Now you see number one, okay, let plus object plus not plus be verb plus V3. This is your first one. Now I am writing two. You take object as your subject plus should, might, must, any one of the three, and said be. Here you set not, V1, then B plus V3. Then you have to get any one of the two in your 4 option. That would be your answer. Here you see the paintings should not be touched. Here your object is paintings, and I have told here you set your object, the paintings, in the place of your subject. Okay, so here you are getting this one. Now should not, you have got here should not, isn't it? Then B plus V3, then B plus, this is your V3, touch, touched, ed, isn't it? So A is your answer here. Now you see, open the window. Okay, this is your V1 and this is your object. Clear? Now this is imperative sentence. Few minutes ago I showed you what would be the passive structure, whether you are getting that structure in your 4 options. That would be your answer, isn't it? Now you see number 1, again I am writing here, let plus object plus be verb plus V3, or you take object here as subject plus must, might, should, any one of the 3 you set here plus be verb plus V3. Now you see you are getting here any one of the 2. Let the window be opened. Here you are getting let, you got here, isn't it? Now object, this is your object, and I told after let you set object. Now this is your object, the window, isn't it? Now you are setting B, here B, and then V3, open verb V3 ki ache, opened, isn't it? This is your V3. Clear? Now you are getting the first one, so A is your answer. Okay, now you see, don't disturb the neighbors. Okay, this is your negative term and disturb is your V1. Clear? And the neighbors is your object. Now what would be your answer? Either let object not, isn't it, or subject should not. This is your the neighbors, this is your object, the neighbors. Now you take the object here in case of second, the neighbors, this is your object as subject. Okay, next you are getting should not, because don't, should not. Then you are getting B, then you are getting V3 of disturb, ed, disturbed, isn't it? So this 4 option, okay, A, B, C, D, only option B is following the second passive structure, isn't it? That begins with subject, next should not, next B, and next V3. So B is your answer. Okay, now you see, return the book. This is your V1, mind it, this is your V1. The book is your object. Okay, this is your object. Now either use let, okay, and if you don't get the term let, then you have to see subject plus should, isn't it? Now here we are getting let the book return to the library. Let, there is let, no problem. There is object, okay, this is no problem. But here you see there is no be verb, there is no be verb. So this structure does not go as answer of this return the book to the library, isn't it? Now you see the book should be returned to the library. This one you see, the book is your object. Okay, the book, as you get here subject, then you follow should be, okay, then you follow V3. So B would be your answer, isn't it? Now you see, don't eat in the classroom, isn't it? This is something little bit different from the early MCQs, isn't it? Here you have to put your thought in some different way to get the proper meaning of the passive structure, isn't it? Now you see, don't in the don't eat in the class. Classroom খেও না, isn't it? Now you see the first option, eating in the classroom. This is not the passive structure, isn't it? This is not the passive structure, isn't it? That is of imperative sentence, of course. So A does not go. Do not let eating happen in the classroom. B does not go, isn't it? Now you are getting here late. C, let eating in the classroom be avoided. Okay, as you know, after late, what we get? After late we get object. Clear? Now object and subject, they are actually noun or pronoun becomes object and subject, isn't it? That is the noun in a sentence is used either in subject or object, isn't it? That means after late, when we set object, that means object is either noun or pronoun. Okay, that means after late we should need noun or pronoun, because object always is noun or pronoun, isn't it? Now you see, it is your V1, mind it, V1. After late, if you like to get the object, then you have to set V1 plus ing, that is noun, gerundial noun, isn't it? This is gerundial noun. Okay, now let eating, so this is your noun, that means object. Let eating in the classroom, that means classroom ভিতরে খাওয়াটা be avoided. This is the term of your passive. This is the term of your passive. Okay, passive term, mind it. Passive term কি হয়? B plus V3, that you are getting here. So C is your answer, and you are getting the same meaning in your passive structure that you get in your active one. Don't eat in the classroom. ক্লাসরুমের ভিতরে খেও না। আর এখানে কি লিখলাম? ক্লাসরুমের ভিতরে খাওয়াটা অ্যাভয়েড করা উচিত। From the viewpoint of the meaning, both have the same meaning, isn't it? So C is your answer. Now you see, what are the plans? This is your V1, mind it, this is your V1. The plans is your object. Now what sort of pattern you need to get in your four options? Either your sentence begins with let, then object, then verb, then V3, that you are getting in your option A. The plans, the object I am setting here after let, then you get verb, then you V3. Clear? Water is V1 and ed V3. Let the plants be watered regularly. So A is your answer. Now you see, don't make noise. Okay, don't make noise. This is your negative term. Make is your V1, noise is your object. Clear? As you know, for negative, either you use let plus object plus not plus B plus V3. Either you see whether this structure you are getting in your four option, or number 2, object as subject plus should plus verb, should plus not plus B plus V3. Either you have to get first one or you have to get second one. Now you see, your object you are getting here as subject. Okay, as subject, then you are getting should not. Here I have written should not, isn't it? then you are getting B. I have written here B. Then you are getting V3 of make, made. So A is your answer, isn't it? Now you see, finish your homework on time. Finish is your V1, right? Your homework is object. Now any of the two you can see whether you have in your four option. First one, late, you are getting here, and after late what we use object, you are getting here object, no problem, isn't it? Then you get B, then you get V3, isn't it? So finish V3 ED, finish, let your homework be finished. Then A is your answer, isn't it? Now you see, no need to see other option, isn't it? When if you get in your first option your answer, then what is need to go for other option, isn't it? Now you see next, don't forget to look the door. Now you see, don't forget, this is your V1, okay, and this is your negative term, and this is your object, mind it, very important this one, clear? Don't forget the door, V1 and object you have already got, and in between you are getting another term, this is called 2 plus V1, this is called infinitive, isn't it? This is another term, and for this term you have to do two step of voice change you have to do here. First one, don't forget the door, that is no problem to you now. Negative term, imperative sentence you have already done in previous examples, okay. There is new one term, imperative, Q plus V1. Only for this thing you have to set passive structure of infinitive. আমরা ইনফিনিটিভের প্যাসিভ স্ট্রাকচারটা কি জানি, 2 plus V1 হচ্ছে অ্যাক্টিভ স্ট্রাকচার, দিস ইজ ইয়োর অ্যাক্টিভ স্ট্রাকচারস, মাইন্ড ইট। অ্যান্ড এটার প্যাসিভ স্ট্রাকচারটা কি হবে, এর প্যাসিভ স্ট্রাকচার হবে 2 plus B plus V3, দিস ইজ ইয়োর প্যাসিভ স্ট্রাকচার, মাইন্ড ইট। সো অনলি ফর দিস thing to lock you have to get 2B plus V3, that means to be locked, isn't it? And don't forget the door. Only for this you have to get the normal negative imperative passive structure that you have got already in previous MCQ problem, isn't it? Now you see, to be locked, okay, to be locked. So this part of the passive structure to lock we have already got. Now you see here, the door must not be forgotten. The door is your subject, clear? And we are using here the second passive structure in negative form, that is subject plus should be or might be or must be, isn't it? So here must not be, isn't it? Must not be. This is your V3, clear? Now you see here, this part you have got here to be locked, and this part, that is don't forget the door. For this thing, don't forget the door. For this thing we are using subject that we get from object, that is from object we get this subject, plus should, must, might, here using must, then not for don't, then be verb, then V3, okay. This part we are using here for don't forget the door, okay, and we keep it aside because there are two pattern of step, isn't it? One for infinitive, you have to do it with its own form, that is 2 plus b plus v3, and the other part, that is don't forget the door, you have to set this one, isn't it? So you are following now. You set your object as subject, that is the door you are setting here, okay, the door. Next you set must not, okay. Now I have set here must not, then you set b, then you set b and then v3. This part already done here. Next there is to lock, that is followed to be locked, okay. So answer A would be your answer. In other options, two steps of passive structure you are not finding, so A is your answer, isn't it? I suppose all the MCQs, active passive in imperative sentence got clear to you, okay, and more such type of MCQs, not only on passive voice, active voice, isn't it, on many other events like adjective, adverb, isn't it, subject verb agreement, tense, lot of things will be coming to you to get your knowledge enhanced, isn't it? Thank you for today. Stay well.